Hello everyone, this is Joe the Orange, and today we are talking about tier banding and the new patch 14.1. So what did patch 14.1 bring to the table? Well, Germanicus is now useful, and that's fucking about it. I have not noticed any difference on Leo at all. Maybe some people have, but in my opinion he's even stronger now. And you might be thinking, you're full of shit, cunt, there's no way he's stronger, they nerfed him. Well, let me explain why when we talk about tier banding. Oh, there is one more important thing that wasn't in the patch notes, which they just happened to forget about. Well, at least forgot to mention, and that is the increase to your vision range, which is fucking massive on barbarians. You have just insane vision. It's fucking crazy. Now, what I thought would be better than just increasing vision is to fix all those little buggy areas where you lose the line of sight of people for no fucking reason, and then they can see you. Just like fixing terrain in general would have been better than just increasing the vision of every unit, but I guess it's an easier way to fix it. Can't blame them, you know. I also think they should do that with snakes. Remove those fucking things. The easy way to fix them, get them the fuck out of the game. And I'm starting to think that Caltraps should have a timer on them. Oh man, I just abuse the fuck out of them now. They're just too good, especially with this tier banding, and I'll explain that shit as well. Why I think all this, there's so much fucking difference now with this tier banding. And I can see why they did it. Do I like the fact that they did it? Yes. It's fun, it's made the game so much more fun for me. It's so much easier to farm. It's fucking great. Now, I don't really care about the end game units anymore. I don't really care about the tier 1 to 4 bracket. The bracket I'm more interested in is the tier 4 to 7, because that shit is so good. It's so easy to farm. And I have so many units in those tiers that I haven't upgraded. So I'm just going through all of them, upgrading them, and just having a fucking ball. Now, this will be a problem for some people because I have money. I have a job, so I can buy gold. Like, spending $10 a week on gold doesn't mean shit to me. I don't really give a fuck. But to some people, that's going to be a massive problem. And the best way in this game to farm, I think, is in that tier 4 to tier 7 bracket. But that's not going to be available to a lot of people. So I can see it being a problem, especially since now you don't get gold from dailies. I guess it's a good way for CA to make money though, because they make a fuck ton of money off me. I don't care though, because I love this fucking game. I don't give a shit. I'll pay. But I can see this being a problem for a lot of people, and they should introduce some way to make gold for free. Or at least make it so you can transfer XP for free. Maybe make that a different currency altogether. Because it's just so fucking easy to farm when you can convert XP. A lot of the people I play with are struggling because they have to start again, basically. They've leveled up a certain unit to tier 9 and tier 10, etc. and a certain commander. But now that they want to change units and they can't afford to buy the gold, they basically have to start the game again. You know, it's fucking horrible for them. So my advice for new players is to get tier 6 units and then just level the shit out of your commanders. Don't bother going past tier 6 units, just level the shit out of your commanders, get them all to tier 9 or tier 10 even. Depending on how patient you are, even maybe tier 8 if you're really impatient. And then level the units. So basically, any gold you do have, use that to convert to Commander XP, and only use Commander XP to upgrade your commanders. Never use it to upgrade your units, because unit XP comes in, you just get a fuck ton of it. It's really easy to get. Well, Commander XP is a fucking drag. Now, this video is showing you why they did introduce tier banding, because of this shit. There's no skill involved in this match until late game. I didn't even bother moving my guys out of Archer Fire. And this is just showing you why they did introduce tier banding. When you knew you were facing low tiers, it was a joke. It was a fucking joke. And it actually made you play the game pretty shit because there's no reason to play good. You're going to fucking smash them. There's nothing they can do. Look how many archers they have. Don't really give a fuck. You know, I just don't care. And it was just completely one-sided. It wasn't enjoyable for anyone, so it's understandable why they did introduce tier banding. And really, anyone that said, oh, it was great when there wasn't tier banding is a fucking retard. They're just a trolling cunt who likes easy wins. See, I don't even take them off the ledge, because they're going to hit me for 5 damage forever. I could take them off the ledge and run off, but what's the fucking point? I'll just go over and smash them. It's just a joke, really. But has tier banding made the game as fair as you would think? No, it hasn't. Because it's so easy to take advantage of. But I think CA doesn't mind that you take advantage of it, because it will make them a shit ton of money. So, and it's going to be hard to completely make this even until nearly everyone's tier 9 and tier 10. The problem is, people want to queue with their friends, and their friends might be low tier, and then if it went off your commander tier, then you can't queue with your low tier friends. And the other thing is, some people don't even know how this tier banding works. They never look up the changes that happened in the game, and they just think, oh, you can just queue with anyone with any units. So you still get a bunch of fucking lobbies and high tier games, etc., because people queue with them, putting them into those games. And then you see them say, oh, what the fuck is this? How come I'm in with all these tier 9s and shit? Well, you're tier 4 and you queued with a tier 9. They are still going to put you in those higher tier games. Some people don't understand that they have introduced tier banding, but if you queue with a lobby with high tier units, they are still going to face high tiers. So let me explain to you guys that don't know how this tier banding works. If you queue with tier 1 to tier 3 units, no matter what your commander level is, you will get into a tier 1 to tier 4 game. If you queue with tier 4 units, you will get into a game between tier 1 and tier 7. If you queue with tier 5 and tier 6 units, you'll get into a game where all the units are between the tiers of 4 and 7. If you queue with a tier 7 unit, you'll get into a game with units between the tiers of 4 and 10. If you queue with 8, 9 and 10 unit, you'll get into a 7, 8, 9 or 10 tier game. And the reason that you will still see lobbies sometimes is because someone will queue with lobbies and they get put into the tier that their highest party member is. So knowing that, you can really take advantage of the system. If you just want wins and you don't care about XP, then you can just do the tier 3 bracket, queue with a tier fucking 10 commander with tier 3 units and just fucking stomp everyone. There's not much XP in it though. Low tier units don't give that much XP out. The better option, in my opinion, is just queuing with tier 6 and yeah, just fucking people up. It's so easy. If you have a tier 9 or tier 10 commander and you're playing tier 6 games, your chances of winning are pretty fucking good. There's a lot of XP to be made. The queue times are small as shit, and that's the problem I have with the higher tiers, is the queue times. And it's so fucking easy. Tier 6 is easy farm. Once I've farmed all my units, then you know I'll probably play higher tiers, but at the moment, best way to make XP in my opinion is playing with tier 6 units with a high tier commander. And the good thing about the tier 6 games is a lot of other higher tier players have already figured this shit out. So you both farm and drag the game out because you're kind of competing against each other. But usually with the higher tier good players, there's a lot of kiting involved, a lot of back and forth. And you end up avoiding each other in most matches and just farming all those cunts that just run down the middle, etc. So you don't end up with that many games where you just face an equally good player and you both die to one another, which can happen at higher tier games. You can have the best player and you fucking verse off against them, and then you both end up fucking dying, and then you both end up with shit points because the only points you got is from killing each other. And then you have to rely on your allies to win the game, which is fucking horrible. Just relying on your allies to win, fuck. This never seems to really happen that often. And why is it a good thing when the game drags out? Well, that buys you enough time to farm a shit ton of points. Like in this game, it's going to the last second. And that's just buying me more time to get more points. So of course, that's fucking great. For me, the longer the game, the better. Because once that daily ticks over, you get shit ton of points. You just get a fucking amazing amount of points. And all I do is daily, so the longer the game, the fucking better. The worst thing is a short game where your team just stomps, and then that's one daily fucking down, you get no XP. I mean, some people play this game 24/7, so they probably don't give a shit. They're playing 50 games a fucking day, they're just playing ridiculous amounts of games. But to me, I need those long games, because I need that XP. I'm doing about 7, if that, games a day. So I need these big fucking victories so I can get massive XP. Now for new players, the best way to farm is basically the same principle. Get up to, well, okay, here's one thing you have to do. When you lose, just fucking leave and queue with a different commander. You don't want to be stuck with one fucking commander. You want at least like one side, like either all the Romans or the Greeks or all the barbarians. You can't just have one fucking commander. So the minute you lose, leave the fucking game, re-queue. Yeah, once you get to tier 6, just stay at tier 6 units, upgrade those units with unit XP, and then just upgrade your commanders. And once you've upgraded those units, switch over to another tier 6 unit in a different tree, like farm that up. And remember to take advantage of that diversity, even if it means that you have to have one unit you're not a big fan of. It's 30% extra XP, take advantage of that. Eventually you will find a use for that fucking unit. I never liked javelins, now I fucking love javelins. Never liked pikes, now I love pikes. I never liked engineers, and all of a sudden I fucking love engineers. The game changes, and the more advantage you can take of like leveling those units early, the better. The one unit I still haven't I've leveled up, but haven't had that much of fucking chance to play is ballistas. They're a piece of shit, but who knows, next patch they could be the fucking best thing ever. The more versatility you have in your arsenal, in other words, the better. And since you can't get gold anymore, you can't convert your XP to commander XP as easily, you're going to need to level a bunch of units to get your commander higher and higher tier. And if you level one unit very quickly, it's never that great of a combo. I don't know any combos that are fucking amazing if you just have 3 of them, apart from one, which is melee with silver shield swords. And that's only because Millie's fucking shit with everything else. He might be okay with pikes, but yes, like it's very rare that you find a really good combo that's just 3 of the same unit. Especially at higher tiers. At higher tiers, if you have 3 of the same unit, people are going to fuck you up. It does work amazingly well sometimes. I'm just talking about averages. Average is, it's better to have versatility than have none. And just being stuck with the same unit. Like, for example, I've had games where the enemy team is winning, but the only thing they have left is heavy infantry. And I have a javelin unit. And my javelin unit can't be caught by them, and just fucks them up until I get some bullshit amount of points. And we end up winning. And the same thing has happened against teams that have too much cav. The only units they have left is cav. and I have pikes and I just sit in their base and fucking cap. That's happened. You know, it's versatility is fucking a really good strength. Let's put it that way. The more versatile your arsenal, the stronger you are. Simple as that. Actually, that's one thing I haven't done, is made a video explaining how to advance in this game when you are a new player. I'll probably make a different video. There's a lot of shit to discuss. If you start off a new account that I have learnt, where I have fucked up, well, I've just fucking leveled everything, really. But when I started playing, it was a good time to do that. There wasn't that many high tiers. You know, luckily I did decide to level everything, which is probably the better way to go about it. Gold, there was gold from dailies, that helped a lot. There was gold weekends, like a lot of shit went in my favour when I started playing. But now I think instead of leveling, I did say you should level everything, but what I mean by that is you should level more than just heavy infantry or just infantry in general or just cav. You need at least 2 different types of units. And in this next bit of the video, well, next video should I say, I'll be discussing what is strong in the tier 6 bracket, etc. Well, tier 4 to tier 7 bracket that you can really take advantage of, and why that is the case. You know, for example, now I do think that engineers slash small ballistas slash immunes slash fucking everything, well, these little fucking crossbows, big crossbows should I say, why they are good now. Also, now that there is tier banning, Furious Spears on Leonidas are fucking as strong as ever. They're ridiculously strong, because the reason that barbarians used to wail on them and fuck them up is because of Frenzy and Shield Bash. Now that there's brackets, those shield bashing barbarians are tier 8. So you're not going to face them. They can't shield bash you back. The only other barbarian unit that has that is the tier 4 ones, which you would have better stats than. So it's brought back certain units that were not viable before. Now that, you know, there's brackets, these guys are fucking amazing again, especially on Leonidas. They're pretty shit on melee, because melee's just a piece of crap without pikes and silver shield swordsman. Something really needs to be fucking done about that guy, especially with this new commander coming out that is just a massive counter to melee again. Melee's just a fucking piece of shit, unless you got one special unit, which will probably fucking be crap once this new barbarian commander comes out. But back onto the engineers, the reason why they are good now is because, I've said this 100 times, tier 6 archers are shit. So that's a counter. That's why it used to be really bad to bring engineers, because you had tier 8 archers, they shoot you once, you're fucked. So in this bracket, the only thing that really counters engineers is horse archers, which you are rarely going to see. Even when they do bring horse archers, you can bring spears and chase them away. So there's no real counter to them in this bracket. And they have caltraps that are really high level. So even when cavalry does get on your ass, you're going to take a lot of them down with you, which is pretty fucked up. I mean, cavalry should counter engineers. They should counter artillery, in my opinion. But the thing is, I've had heaps of games now where, you know, they might kill your engineer unit, but you fucking take like half of their unit with you. There's no straight up counter to engineers, and sometimes they will charge you, the caltraps will actually fuck up their charge, and you'll have enough time to put down more caltraps and kill their whole fucking unit. It's ridiculous, because their caltrap level is not javelin level, it's way higher. They have amazing traps. See, on javelins, if you charge their traps, you lose a few guys, but your unit isn't getting wiped off the face of the earth. If you charge engineer traps, you get fucked up. That's just the way it is. Unfortunately, this game was when I had just started playing Engineers. I've played them for about 2 more days than this game. And yeah, one thing I did figure out is you can't place your traps if you have your ballistas up. Your mini ballistas up. And that's one thing I didn't fucking know. But yeah, that's a little tip for you guys. If you are playing Engineers, remember that you can't place your traps when you have your fucking ballistas down. But as you can see, if you have a tier 10 or tier 9 even, Leo, and you're using these spears, you can go into the open to fuck people up. You know, heaps of games have done this now. It's just so easy to farm with this combo. This combo is reliable. It's not the... You always get decent points. These, the Romans can get bigger points, I find, but they're not as reliable. And there's another unit I should discuss about what is good with this bracket between tier 4 and tier 7. Legionnaires and Armored Legionnaires. I like Legionnaires on Scipio and Armored Legionnaires on Germanicus. Those 2 units are fucking amazing. And I always bring 2 of them and 1 Engineer again. Engineers are just fucking stupid. They're stupid as shit. I mean, the first game I played Legionnaires on Scipio with no fucking upgrades ended up like 8,800 points. It was dumb as fuck. Just the fact that your infantry has oath, so they tie up all their melee, and then you have sight, because even though they're in melee, they still provide sight. So your engineer is shooting over that, shooting all their archers and shit, which you have better range at than. And their archers are fucking piss weak. When they hit your engineers, you have enough time to run away. That's the difference between the tier 8 archers compared to the tier 6 ones. If the tier 8 archers start shooting your engineers are dead. When the tier 6 ones start shooting, you can run away. And that's why I find engineers so strong in this bracket. There's no instant kill, apart from getting cavalry charge when you're not paying attention. There's no instant fucking kill. And the fact that your traps are tier 5 on the Roman side, I think they're tier 7 on the Greek side, with the tier 6 ones, you know, it's something slightly higher on the Greek side. But even the tier 5 caltraps do a lot of damage. I think the tier 10 javelins have tier 8 caltraps, which makes a bit more sense. They are tier 10, they have tier 8 caltraps, while the ballistas have tier 7 at tier 6. And they're instant. I used to think that you had to use your Caesar buff to put them down instantly, but no, they're just instant on everything. And while I am loving abusing it, I can see why they should nerf the fuck out of it. Just because, well, like, I play a lot of overpowered shit, right? But I know it's overpowered. I still think they should fucking nerf it. Just because I'm abusing it doesn't mean I think that it shouldn't be nerfed. Like, I think caltraps are ridiculous. They're fucking stupid. I think that the javelins ones should be tier 7 at tier 10. And the engineers ones should be at tier 6. They should be tier 6 or tier 5 even. They're just too fucking strong. They should have a cast on. If you don't reduce the damage, they shouldn't be able to be placed down at the last second just before cav charges. But until they fix it, of course, I'm going to abuse the fuck out of it, because I'm a cunt. So, I don't know what else to say. I abuse shit. That's what I fucking do. I'm not a cunt enough to abuse stakes. I did it one day, but that was like super cunt. I don't have that level of cuntiness. I can abuse other shit, but when it comes to stakes in combat, that's just fucking, But talking about those caltraps, I did kill Famis, CA Famis, while placing caltraps on top of him yesterday, so they know about it. They obviously have had it happen to them before, because this cunt, he came charging in with his fucking 2 horse units, all blobbed together, and I put some caltraps down earlier. I hid behind them, so he charged through them, and then he's like, holy fuck, try to go around them. And then I put more traps right on top of his unit, even though they're already engaged with my engineers. So they obviously know about it. And the funny thing is, my unit routed when it still had 3/4 of its health left. And when it routed, it ran through my traps. And you might be thinking, oh, well, that's, you know, pretty bad for you. It's fucking good for me. Because they were dead. They were fucking dead. But if they run through my traps, none of my team gets friendly fire. No one gets points from it. So if I run through my own traps, it avoids them from getting fucking points. It's brilliant. And that's one thing I have started doing with engineers. If I know I am fucking dead, just before they charge me, I just run through my own traps. Because it makes them get 0 points for your engineers. It's fucking abusive as shit. It's but it's something you can do. It's cheap as... It's like being a cheap cunt. Fuck you, it's good. It works. So these poor guys have ran through all the traps you have set in their way. They've lost half their unit, but they're finally about to reach you. And then you kill yourself and they get 0 points. And you lose 0 points. It's a fucking win-win. You know, that shit is hard to balance though. It's so hard to balance. You know, people were complaining about the friendly fire. I believe there was friendly fire on traps. People complained about that because idiots were running into the traps, even though they shouldn't. And then you have other people that are now abusing that, like me, being a fucking asshole and killing himself to avoid the other team getting points. So it is a juggling act. I think they should introduce basic amounts of friendly fire. You know, at the moment, friendly fire is ×3. I think traps should be ×1. And the same with pikes. I don't think that should be ×3. I think that should be ×2. You know, certain things should cause more friendly fire than others. It shouldn't just be like, this is the case over every single type of unit. And I still think that cavalry should have some sort of friendly fire. Probably ×1. You don't want to add too much friendly fire to their back charges. And that's a good way to nerf Leo. If you make him cause friendly fire from his shield bash, it wouldn't make sense though. I don't get why he is shield bashing his allies in the first place. But if you did introduce friendly fire, so when he does that shield bash and gets 20 friendly fire because some guy decided to help him in combat, you get friendly fire for that shield bash, that would nerf the fuck out of Leo. But it doesn't make sense at all why. Imagine that, you see a guy, because back then they used to wear uniforms, right? So there's a guy in a similar colour to your army, right? And you have your shield and your commander's like, alright, heave, like fucking shield bash. And there's a guy next to you in the same uniform and you're just like, motherfucking boom, and you just shield bash the cunt. What kind of fucking asshole is that guy? He doesn't give a shit what uniform you're wearing. He's going to fucking smash you with his shield. And same with fucking Cav. Sometimes that shit does not make sense. If I saw a cliff, right, and my commander was like, charge, I would go in there. Because you must have some experience on a horse. So you charge enough to stop before you fucking run into a cliff and kill yourself. And the infantry do it too. Why the fuck would you ever do that? So you're this infantry guy and you charge and you see a cliff edge and you're thinking maybe this isn't the best fucking idea just to go full pelt at these cunts standing on the edge of the cliff and just killing yourself. You're basically killing yourself. It's just the dumbest shit. But then again, if I saw a bunch of guys run into these massive wooden stakes and just impale themselves on top of it, you just see this massive wall of fucking... Have you seen how big those stakes are compared to the size of your guys? You could see them from a fucking mile away. And then these guys run up in front of you and just impale themselves on top of these stakes. I would be fucking just lying on the ground, covering my head, while all these cunts just suicide into that shit. But, yeah, I guess you can't make these games that realistic, because historical battles, when you look at them, they are pretty fucking If you had a completely historical game, it would be boring as shit when you think about it. It would be really fucking boring. The winners decided in the first engagement, most times. So that's why games like this can't be that historically accurate, but it's just funny thinking about that shit. And that's the other problem with historical accuracy, is there has been cases where people are really fucking dumb. Like, really dumb. Just killing themselves. Like, what's that British chick? Look up her story. So, they just killed themselves. They're fucking retarded. Like, oh man. Some of those historical things, it makes this game look accurate as shit because people were dumb as fuck. Boudica, that was the chick I was thinking about. But, I guess, like, we have history to look at and learn from when they were basically making history, so, you know, we can look at it now and think, that's fucking retarded, that's the dumbest shit you could possibly do, but we have history to look at and see why that's a fucking bad idea. It must have been interesting in those times where, if you were ahead of your time and you have this commander telling you to do this dumb fucking shit, you're just thinking, you gave me kill, cunt. Anyway guys, that's all the time I have for today. Hope you liked this video. Please subscribe and thumbs up and all that crap.